Hello! Welcome to Wheel Talk. I'm Rakapa Sadai. To anyone who has been waiting for a new episode, thank you for your patience. I'm sorry to be gone so long. But we're back, and today we are talking about The Eye of the World, Chapter 18, The Camelin Road. I live for this chapter. Let's do this. So, spoiler-free recap. Moiraine's carpool has been riding on the Camelin Road for 3 days, and they've dismounted to eat. Nynaeve keeps telling Moiraine about herbs, and Moiraine is like, wow, wisdom, that's so cool. From the west, they hear the wail of a horn. Lan is like, well, there are Trollocs behind us. That's not great. It's not great. We should go. They mount up, and as they ride, the horn sounds again, and more horns answer it, all coming from the west. Keep them moving, Moiraine Sedai. You will know if I fail. Lan rides away, heading west. The light go with you, last lord of the Seven Towers. They keep riding. The horns sound again, getting closer. But Moiraine won't let them ride any faster. That's what the Trollocs want us to do. Trust me, I know things. I'm gonna kill everything on the street right now. Then Lan comes back and says, at least 3 fists of Trollocs, each led by a half-man, maybe 5. 500 Trollocs? That's not great. And they'll be here in an hour. It's not great. Where were all these Trollocs on Winter Night? How did they even get here? Then they hear the horns in front of them, and everyone starts freaking out. Except for Lan and Moiraine. Obvious. We don't have many options here. Our best bet is to head north and try to cross the Arenal. There is a place the Trollocs will not go. No! Moiraine and Lan talk quietly. The horns sound again. Well, this one doesn't work. Tom's like, they're trying to frighten us. We go north. They ride through the hills faster than before. The horns are getting closer. They top another hill. Brace yourselves. Things are about to get real. Below them, just starting up the slope, marched Trollocs carrying poles tipped with great loops of rope. Many Trollocs. The line stretched far to either side, the ends out of sight, but at its center, directly in front of Lan, a fade road. The Myrddraal seemed to hesitate as the humans appeared atop the hill, but in the next instant it produced a sword with the black blade Rand remembered so queasily, and waved it over its head. The line of Trollocs scrambled forward. Stay with me, for the 7 Towers! Rand was surprised to find Tam's sword in his fist. Manetherin! Manetherin! Yeah, Manetherin! Manetherin! Karayan Kaldazar! Karayan Elisanda! Al Elisanda! The black sword froze over the Fade's head. The opening of its cowl swiveled, searching among the oncoming horsemen. Then Lan was on the Myrddraal as the human folk fell on the Trolloc line. Warder's blade met black steel. Beast-muzzled, almost men swarmed around each of the humans, catchpoles and hooks flailing. Lan and the Myrddraal fought in a clear circle, swords matching stroke for stroke. Moiraine's white mare dashed and cut at the slightest touch of the Aes Sedai's hand. Her staff lashed out. Flame enveloped Trollocs. As they attempted to avoid her, she sought them out. Fires roared, and the Trollocs howled in rage and fury. A hook caught Rand's shoulder. Rand hung onto saddle and reins desperately. He saw Perrin struggling to wrest his axe away from 3 Trollocs. The pulling vanished. Around the humans, the Trollocs fell writhing to the ground, tearing at their hair, clawing their own faces. Then Rand saw the Myrddraal, still upright in the saddle of its madly dancing horse. It had no head. It won't die until nightfall! That is what I've heard, anyway. Ride! This is not all of them! If Lan had set a hard pace before, he doubled it now. The humans reached a hilltop, just as Trollocs appeared on the next hill behind them. The hilltop blackened with Trollocs, snouted, distorted faces howling, and 3 Myrddraal overawed them all. Only 100 spans separated the 2 parties. The Myrddraal's black swords rose as one. Trollocs boiled down the slope, thick, triumphant cries rising, catchpoles bobbing above as they ran. Moiraine climbed down from Aldib's back. Calmly, she removed something from her pouch. The Angreal. The Angreal looks exactly like this, except it's an ivory figurine of a woman. not a fish. The Aes Sedai raised her staff high and stabbed it into the earth. Everything was silent. The Trolloc cries stilled. For a heartbeat, everything waited. Slowly, the dull ringing returned, changing to a low rumble, growing until the earth moaned. Clouds stumbled and nearly fell. Those who rode had to cling to reins and manes. By the way, Cloud looks exactly like this, except he's gray. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. Neither the Aes Sedai nor the staff moved an inch, for all that the ground shook. The ground rippled, lapping toward the Trollocs, becoming waves of earth. Trees in the hollow lashed like switches. Trollocs fell in heaps. But the Myrddraal came slowly on. Moiraine lifted her staff, and the earth stilled. But she was not done. She pointed to the hollow between the hills, and flame gouted from the ground. She flung her arms wide, and the fire raced to the left and right, spreading into a wall separating humans and Trollocs. The heat made Rand put his hands in front of his face. The Myrddraal's black mounts fought their riders, as the Fades tried to force them through the flames. Blood and ashes! Abruptly, Moiraine wavered, and would have fallen had Lan not leaped from his horse to catch her. Go on. That fire won't burn forever. They galloped northward. The horns in the distance shrilled out disappointment, then fell silent. Lan and Moiraine catch up with the others. Moiraine is swaying in her saddle. I am not at my strongest when working with earth and fire. They continue riding. Lan and Moiraine are arguing quietly. Egwene asks, what was it you were shouting, Matt? I don't remember. Probably gibberish? No, I think I understood you. I just don't remember it now, which is weird. Karai on Kaldazar. Karai on Elisanda. On Elisanda. For the honor of the Red Eagle. For the honor of the Rose of the Sun. The Rose of the Sun. The ancient war cry of Manetheren, and the war cry of its last king. Eldraine was called the Rose of the Sun. Tom's like, neat! I'd write a story if there weren't shadow spawn after us. Can we get going? They hear a Trolloc horn from the south. More horns answer from the east and west. They have passed the fire. You are not strong enough, and neither Myrddraal nor Trolloc will enter that place. Fine. Moiraine has everyone move closer to her. She whirls her staff in a circle above them, then thrusts it to the west. A whirlwind moves in a line where she aims. To the Trollocs, our scents and our trails will seem to follow that. Your staff is very powerful. Okay, things do not have the power. How many times do I have to tell you? God! Lan leads them north, and eventually, a city comes into view. And it's huge. Rand thinks it might be 50 times the size of Baerlon. But the walls are overgrown with vines. Clearly no one lives here anymore. I wonder what city it was. It was called Eredhall. Later, Eredhall died, and it was called by another name. What name? They hear the Trolloc horns in the distance. Lan leads them through a ruined gate, and as they enter the city, Matt asks again, what name? It was called Shadar Logoth. And that's the end of the chapter, yes! I'd like to take a moment to thank our new Patreon members. Our new Wilders, Kaz, Turban Dan, Kirby, Alok. I mean, I kind of feel like that says it all, but seriously, thank you. Our new novices and soldiers, Morgan, Aerodo, Sage, Nathan, Daniel. Welcome to the Littlest Tower. Our new accepted and dedicated, Space Hex, Eurydice. You get the idea. Thank you. And our new Aes Sedai and Ashaman, Zolian, Cynthia, Betty. You are helping me keep Wheel Talk going. The light illumine you. When we hit our next Patreon goal, we're going to add a backdrop to Wheel Talk. I'm really looking forward to that because my current background is... I don't even know. What's behind me? Trees? That doesn't make any damn sense. Where even am I? I also want to thank Nablus for thegreatblight.com, which he recently launched. This website lets you browse Wheel of Time content from lots of content creators. It's a great way to find new stuff. There's a ton of good Wheel of Time content out there, and it's really nice to have it all organized in one website. So definitely check out thegreatblight.com. There is a link in the notes. We all love Nablus here. Does that make us all dark friends? Don't worry about it. The next part of this video is the 13th Depository. I'm going to dive deep on the Wheel of Time, and there might be little spoilers. I don't know what you consider a spoiler. That's different for everyone. I'm gonna spill this. So if you haven't finished the series, I recommend not watching this part. Also, if you haven't finished reading The Wheel of Time, this might sound crazy. I pronounce this meeting sealed to the flame. I'm trying this new thing where I put the fire off to the side because I know myself, and if I keep putting it right in front of me, at some point, I'm gonna catch fire. I'm actually surprised I didn't last time. Anyway, here's my question. Do we think Matt is King Aemon Reborn? You might be thinking, Rakappa, you ask a lot of questions about characters being reborn. You're not wrong, but I like this stuff. Matt shouts King Aemon's war cry in the old tongue, and Egwene thinks she understands some of it. Moiraine's smile took in Egwene and Matt both, though her gaze may have rested a moment longer on him than on her. The blood of Aemon's line is still strong in the two rivers. The old blood still sings. Matt and Egwene looked at each other while everyone else looked at them both. Egwene's eyes were wide, and her mouth kept quirking into a smile that she bit back every time it began, as if she was not sure just how to take this talk of the old blood. Matt was sure, from the scowling frown on his face. If Matt was a descendant of the ancient kings of Manetheren, maybe the Trollocs were really after him. And not all three of them. The implication is that Matt is Aemon's descendant, but Matt shouting Aemon's war cry in the old tongue feels like it goes further than that. It feels more likely that Matt is Aemon Reborn. That's where my mind goes, anyway. And I guess Matt could be Aemon Reborn and Aemon's descendant, but we know that that can't always be how being reborn works. Rand can't really be Lews Theren's descendant because Lews Theren totally killed his family. Whoops. Anyway, I'm curious what you all think. Is Matt Aemon Reborn? Is he just Aemon's descendant? Is he maybe both? Let me know in the comments. I was thinking back to the episode where I mentioned Egwene possibly being Eldraine Reborn. If Egwene is Eldraine and Matt is Aemon, that means those two were a power couple during the Trolloc Wars. I had never thought about it before this week, but I actually like the idea of Matt and Egwene together, because that way I wouldn't feel obligated to like Gawyn or Tuon. I don't like Gawyn or Tuon, but I feel like I'm supposed to. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching. If you can like the video and subscribe, that would be fabulous. If you'd like to help Wheel Talk continue and improve, the best way is by sponsoring the show on Patreon. There's a link in the notes. All levels of contribution are truly appreciated. And thank the light, we are finally back on schedule. So until next week, walk in the light and keep it wheel. Best $6 I ever spent.